What do you feel this team needs to maybe have a more consistent year next year and finish in that top four, or make the jump into the top four?
I think, if you think about it, we had 18 skaters to start with. Most teams probably have 22, 23 skaters with five or six kids in the stand. So starting with 18 and then a handful of brand new players, freshmen, and then a handful of experienced players, but not on-ice experienced players. So we were young, and getting used to being in key moments, I think, takes some time, and being used to being relied upon takes some time. So filling in some big shoes from kids that moved on last year, I think that, again, takes time, and a new staff and all of that. That's been discussed at length. So I think, we peaked at the right time of year, and picking up, like I said, where we left off for next season, I think we'll have a lot more experience in the locker room right away. So it shouldn't take that long. And with the recruiting class that's coming in, we have some key pieces that'll make an immediate impact. So we're excited about next year.
What do you feel was holding this team back at times more, the lack of depth or the lack of experience, on-ice experience?
Both. Depth, on-ice experience, and on-ice confidence. How to beat those teams. How many one-goal games were we in throughout the season? 1 million. And, if you look at Bemidji, for instance, a couple of years ago, those were the games that they were losing. This year, they figured out a way to win. I see us fairly similar to that, where this year we struggled to win those games, and next year I expect that we will win those games.
WCHA, about what you expected, or a little tougher?
About what I expected. Yeah, I mean, the top is very good, and the bottom is similar to a lot of teams out there.
What are you looking to bring in next season? How many players in addition to what you signed already?
Well, what we signed already, and maybe one more. By the time you get going, the 2016 class, even getting here last May, the 2016 class is pretty much done. A lot of the top players have made their decisions at that point. So we're happy with some of the pieces that we're bringing in, and like I said, they'll jump right in and get a lot of playing time. So that's exciting. In particular, Sid Broad up front will be great for us. She was on the U18 U.S. team, center of the first line there. So we'll expect her to come right in. And Jalen Elms on the back end, played for the U18 Canadian team. She's big. She's 5'8". She's strong. She'll fit really nicely into the WCHA, because I think we could use some bigger players, some tougher players. If anyone watched the Wisconsin game, I'd say that was one of the biggest differences, not only the depth of their roster, but also the size and the strength of their players.
Then you'll have Kat come back next year?
Yes,
well.
yeah.
She's taking a red shirt for this year?
Well, she didn't even play at all, so
Right,
it's just kind of a non-existent year. So we'll be really excited to have her back. I know, we sort of forget about her, along with, I think, 7 seniors from last year. In addition, we didn't have Katka this year, and from what I've seen and the numbers I've looked at, she's a pretty special player, so we're excited about that.
You look at losing or only having like 40% of your scoring back from last year to start this year, the changeover in the coaching staff, and what you're able to produce on the ice. How proud are you of these kids for the maturity that they showed and the development that they showed throughout the year?
Yeah, awesome. I can't say enough about them. I think the expectations on them were fairly high at the beginning of the year, because maybe some of those things were forgotten. The people that did leave the locker room, they were significant contributors. And so for our players to step up, in particular, players like Brickelick and Stalder, who had successful careers already, but to elevate their games as much as they did this year. And Cava, I mean, what a great story that is, to go from, 6 points to almost 40 this year. Players like McGovern, who hardly played last year, who was our second-line center and one of our best players consistently day in and day out. And I could continually go down the line of kids on the back end. I mean, the minutes that Sid Morin and Jess Healy were playing was just crazy. We ran about 4 or 5D fairly consistently throughout the season, and Kat Daou and Linnea Hadeen, those 4 pretty much played the entire playoff games. So I mean, that's stuff that a lot of people don't know, but within the locker room and downstairs, we know, and it's just crazy and very, very impressive. And so knowing that, knowing what they were able to give this year, that's why I'm so excited for the future.
How would you evaluate Maddie's freshman year, and what does she need to do between now and the start of next season to get better?
I'm excited for Maddie's future. I think she learned a lot this year. I think she had some great games. Shout out North Dakota at North Dakota back in November. And I forget the record that she set here, unfortunately, against Minnesota, 68 or something saves. She's a really good goalie. I think she had a fairly good year. At points, I'm sure she would have liked to have played better, but I think all of our goalies went through that sort of up and down season, and for the future, I'm really excited about her. She's going to be our go-to. She's our number one. She is an elite talent, and she has the ability to do this, so we're really excited about it.
What is it you want to see from her this offseason?
Any freshman, I think the biggest progression that you make in your college year is from freshman year to sophomore year, because you have a year plus of the strength and conditioning program under your belt. So she needs to get stronger, she needs to get faster, she needs to get quicker, she needs to, get involved more on the nutritional side of things. All of those factors might sound insignificant, but when you're playing college hockey at the D1 level, they're huge. So just getting more acclimated to a Division I program and setting her standards higher in those realms will help her, because she's an insanely competitive person. And I know how well she wants to do, and I know she's excited to take this on.
Who do you see next season possibly stepping up and joining Stalder and Bricklick and helping this team score goals? It seemed like Catherine McGovern was really good at the end, but I'm sure you'd like to see more than that top line scoring every night.
Yeah, I think we mentioned Katka coming back. I think that brings an interesting dynamic to the group. I think, Sid Brat, like I mentioned, she's going to be a big piece, and that'll be interesting, because no matter how good you are in high school, jumping into the WCHA is going to take some time. I want to set that up for everybody. But she'll be in the mix, and like you said, McGovern's in the mix right there, and, Brick and Stalder play the wings, so trying to figure out the right center for them will be key, but I think we have some good options.
Anything else?
How happy, you mentioned it was tough to recruit for 2016 here. When you come in, a lot of those players are already gone. What do you feel is the outlook for 2017, 18, and beyond? How's that gone?
We're working our butts off. I was just talking to Bob. It's our first weekend off, but it's not. Sammy's already flying up to Winnipeg tonight, and Laura and I will be down in the cities this weekend. So we're all over it. There's tons of talent out there. We're in great conversations with top players around the country and in Canada and in Europe, and so the future is bright. It takes a lot of hard work with the teams that we're going up against. When we're in conversations against the Gophers and the Badgers and North Dakota, we'll call them, we know we're in really good company, and just convincing some of those kids to come to UMD will change the tides, and we're working really hard to make that happen. So we're excited.